Hello, we are live, everybody. Joe the Skull, like Bob the Skull from the Dresden books.
There you go.
Welcome to Fantasy Island. Look at that shit. Look at that. Look at
Uh,
Whose
that.
fantasy is that?
Some dark, creepy fucking goth chicks, hopefully, that I slide into there.
Oh,
Never got a goth chick back in the day. All the goth clubs I went to, never got a goth chick. Anyway, we're not here to talk about goth chicks and my failures with goth chicks.
that's another channel entirely.
Right.
That's a different channel, different platform entirely. Yeah. Now, we're here to talk about rolling too much. When is rolling too much rolling? Tim rolls too much, don't you, Tim? You roll too many ones.
I was gonna say I roll I roll low a lot, so yeah, I roll too many ones. Yes, yeah. What do you want to? What exactly are you? What do we want to talk about with these rolling too much? Like
rolling too much. I think that there's a time and a place for rolls, right? And I think I've made my point in the past many times that I do not like social rolls. Act it out, right? Say what you're gonna say. And me as a DM will take your shit into consideration if your character has an 18 charisma or 7 charisma, right? But you, the player, will act that out. There's a certain element of player skill to this. I know that gimps, like, the fucking autistic player base of D&D, which, you know what I mean? Who have maybe a lack of social skills, right?
Absolutely.
But tough shit. This is how you get better, man. That's how I got better. A little tism from the tism corner here. That's how I got better at it. So you got to try. What about your tism, Paul?
Listen, I think you should roll when it's necessary. I'll give you an example that I started playing Hyperoreia on Monday nights.
Yep, I saw the game.
I've only played the game. I've only played once, but it's very specific in its directions. There, it says basically like I'm playing a huntsman. And I read there, it says, look, you know how to do all these things already. There's things you already know how to do. You know how to pick pockets. You know how to, there's a lot of things you need to do that the only time that at least within the game that it's saying that it's encouraging you to roll is when the danger level is super high. Like you could, if you fail this, right? If you already know how to do, hunt game, right? I'm not rolling to see whether I can hunt game or not. I say that's what I'm going to go do, and then I can go do that. So in the game, I wound up only rolling, rolling to hit is normal, but I didn't have to roll for every, charisma checks or, those type of things. The DM kind of rolled some of that, but for me, and your character already knows how to do some things. There's nothing that you have to. I don't think you shouldn't. At least I'll say this: I don't make my players at the table have to roll for everything. There's certain things that they should know, especially know when they're third, beyond first level, and then let it roll when it's necessary to roll.
One correction and one distinction. It is now proper to say huntsperson, not huntsman. All right, so get with the program on that front.
Well, I'm a huntsman because I'm a man and it's male in the game. But they also say you could also be a huntress. So there's a distinction there. There's a distinction within the
game. Yeah. I'm picturing leather loincloth and, instead of a chainmail bikini, like a leather bikini or something.
I said I'm a huntsman, not a huntress.
Well, I wasn't picturing you in this fucking outfit.
Get over yourself. You say you weren't, but it sounds like you were. I'll be honest. Get out of
He didn't. He wasn't specific.
Objectifying me. Stop objectifying me, Joe. It makes me feel awkward.
Show me a little skin there, Paul.
Eyes up here,
and we're back to the gutter. But
this must be where
the distinction I'll make is like my brother, or rather the other kids game that I'm running. There's a barbarian and there is a ranger in the group. And a druid, right? And the barbarian and ranger each have like hunting, trapping, and ability that in my hack, right? Now I make them roll a survival check, a wilderness survival check, to see if they get something, right? And the DC is pretty fucking low. They're going to get something because they're rangers, right? They're a ranger or barbarian. That's an easy thing to do. The roll is to see, like, put it this way: you're walking around. You got to be walking around with the bow. You got to be pretty much, not pulled back, but ready to shoot, like an attack of opportunity if you see the deer, right? The roll is to see, did a deer appear? Did that's a survival check. And then you got to roll to attack and shoot, see if you hit the fucking deer, right? And how well they do on their survival roll depends if they get it. They roll a 5, they got a rabbit. If they roll a 20, they got an elk, right? And how that tells you how long they're going to eat. So it's not a non-roll, but the roll does matter. And when you're talking tension, they're running out of supplies. They're in the woods. They have no more rations left. They need the food, right? Or they could spend like 4 hours fishing, and in which case they're going to catch enough fish, right? Unless it's like, Cthulhu water or something like that.
Cthulhu water. No, I use the same thing, Joe. I think when I'm running you guys, it's like just roll me a d20. As this is not to see you succeed. I always say this is how well you succeed. So it's like you go hunting. If you roll a 5, like you said, maybe you get something small. But if you get something bigger, or you find out that unfortunately this area has been, you could lead into something else. You go hunting, but unfortunately there's no freaking wildlife. There's no wildlife. All you're finding is these bones all over. So that could lead into a possible encounter to some apex predator that's looking to hunt you instead or whatever. Here and I've used this example. My biggest complaint with rolling too much has always been the perception checks back, with any version that used it. It's just such a huge crutch for things. And I understand why they put it in the game originally. I remember when they came out with it, and I think back in the day it was called a spot check, wasn't it? And then they turned it into perception, like that.
There was a 3rd edition wasn't it both in 3rd edition? Like you're a search and a spot, right? Wasn't it how it went? Search check and a spot check. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And anyways, then it just started like, well, roll me a perception check, check, and then. And the unfortunate thing is this is where I think the decline in game mastering started, because you couldn't take a simple premise, and I will use this example forever because it's a perfect example of it, because I was at a con, guys running 3.5, and we walk into this room, we all failed. I know I failed my perception check. What else was going to happen? And I think there was 3 or 4 other of us, and we all failed. And he just froze. He didn't know what to do. And here it was, he wanted to see if we perceived that the room was covered in blood, like there was a murder scene there, right? And because I encouraged the guy. I say, hey, I said, I know we all failed, and I can see you're stuck and everything. I said, why don't we just go past this and just say, one of us made it. Tell us what you said. And then he goes on to describe the room, and I'm like, why the hell did we have to roll to see this? I mean, should not be a perception roll at all. And then when I was doing my what was it, the breakdown of the new box set, what was it, the border Heroes on the Borderlands and everything?
Yeah, Losers on the Borderlands. Yeah.
They have you roll so many times for uncontested things that was just completely unnecessary, or just defied common sense. We'll use the goat example because it's the most ridiculous one.
Yep.
You're in this confined area, and you got like 3 different rolls that you could possibly. They give you 3 possibilities to you could use this perception or this thing or hunting, or I can't remember exactly but all of them were kind of dumb. It's like they weren't teaching you anything on how to run a game, and it really wasn't teaching you how to play in a game either, because a lot of these things shouldn't have been a role. It should have been like, let's see what the player's going to do, and then the DM's going to react to what there's going on. But to find a goat in a small territory, you can hear them. You can. People would be, probably yelling, "Get out of my, apples, you damn goat," kind of thing. Just, it's just, and it can still be fun without the rolling. There's just a lot of role playing in there, but the way they have the 5th edition, and I'm like, it started back in 3rd edition when it started and everything. is it just became a crutch for a lot of DMs. And I'm not blaming the DMs, because this is the way the adventures that are written are teaching them how to do it.
Yes.
So
that's the problem, Tim. You said they're not teaching people the right way. They're not teaching people anything. They are teaching people something. They're teaching them the wrong way.
Well,
right?
that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. They're teaching them just basically to always rely upon the dice rather than their brains and their creativity.
Right.
It becomes a crutch. I'm just looking here in my rules. I'm like, I have find traps, but only thieves and fortune hunters can do it. Nobody else. Nobody can train in it. That's it. 2 classes, because there's a class protections thing. I've listened that anybody could do, but take your fucking helmet off, shush everybody, right. Put your ear to the fucking door, and then we'll see what you hear, right? And some races get a bonus to that. Tracking, only certain classes could do, right? And like I have things like I have a swimming in here, but everybody knows how to swim. Swimming is when you're like fighting against the goddamn rushing currents to see if you survive, or you jump in the water in chainmail. Now you're doing a swim check. I don't care how good you are. Now you got to do a swim check, right? Things like that.
I know some people who can sink in their swimsuit. They can't swim worth a shit, dude.
Well, I'm giving everybody like the benefit of you could stay above water and paddle. That's no fun. You know what I mean? The doggy paddle thing. Everybody can do that. You know what I mean? But yeah, so if you want to make progress and do something extraordinary, do your swimming check, right? At least put 1 point into it, for God's sakes.
Right.
But yeah.
If you know how to swim, right? If you want to do, like you said, I think it's about doing something extraordinary. It's not like, you know how to swim, right? But what do you want to do? Well, I want to swim against the current.
Yes.
So I can save my friend, or to get maybe the treasure has fallen overboard, and now you want to do something extraordinary. You don't have to do a swim check. You say, look, now I'm going to, just a swim. I'm going to do something daring here, and that's what you want them to roll for.
Yep. I think I told everybody, basically you got to put 1 point in I advise everybody, you can do whatever the fuck you want, right? But everybody should put 1 point into swimming and 1 point into riding. And with that, you have all the basics. Horse riding, you got horsemanship. You have all the basics that you could do. You just can't do the fucking stunts and tricks and jumping off a horse. You can't put the Mongolian archery thing, stuff like that, right? That's the difference.
Sure.
That's
right. And that's a lot like, and I was going to say, that's just a lot like Castles and Crusades. Castles and Crusades is you only have there's always your prime numbers or your prime attributes are, well, if you're a fighter, your prime attributes are strength and dexterity, I believe. If anything above that, you're rolling, an 18 or above to see if you can do it.
Yeah. But if it's your prime, it's like 12 or above or something, right? Is that how it goes?
If it's your prime, it's 12. I think it's 12 or 12 or above. Yeah.
I think
I don't know why that system bugs the living shit out of me so much. I can't wrap my mind around it. It's antithetical to how I view it. I don't think it should be like that. I think
I'm not a huge fan of it either, Joe. I mean,
can't explain it. I can't explain why. It's so weird.
I get it.
But doesn't it envelop the ethos of what we're talking about, that only certain characters can do certain things? I mean, that's not our topic, but as far as rolling dice goes, that your character should, roll dice when it's important, but when you can only do the thing that other people cannot do.
Well, not only should they only roll dice when it's important, they should roll dice when the DM fucking tells them to. Not, okay, I roll a perception check. I roll a knowledge check in nature to see if I know this. Who the fuck told you could roll that check? Did I tell you you could do that?
Paul did that to me a couple sessions ago.
He said, did you just 5E me? I went, oh, he said, yeah. Old habits die.
He's like, I can't remember. Was it a perception check or something you rolled, Paul? Or was something out of the blue? And he just rolled it, and I'm like, did you just 5E me, Paul? Did you just 5E me?
I did.
That's funny.
But also too, that's about, when we get so focused on our character sheets, right?
Yes.
Part of rolling. Yes. Or part of, you're rolling in the moment. You shouldn't have to be head down in your character sheet all the time. That your DM is engaging with you, and it's like you're going to do this. You don't do a knowledge check for that. That if you were a thief and you're going to know some things about some things around town. Roll it when you have to roll it. Otherwise, you're looking through your character sheet rather than, like you said, Joe, making decisions. Do something adventurous. Take action. Right.
Yep. Yep. Every druid knows what the fuck poison ivy is. There's no roll needed. Every ranger, you know what I'm saying? Someone like that, right? But they may not know the exotic herb that king's foil, right? For example, right, from Lord of the Rings, they may not know that, right? But they know goddamn poison ivy and poison oak, right? So that's an example of that. The other thing too about it, I think it fucks up pacing sometimes. You're trying to go through something narratively, maybe, and get people engaged with a back and forth with DM and player and this and that. And if you're always saying, well, roll the dice, and you got to roll to get to the next step. And it's like, Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm like, did I open the door? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It just takes away from all the fun. Just open a fucking door, just see what happens, man. You destroy the pace of a game and it takes away from the immersion. That's everything,
Right. That's a good point. That dice interrupts the flow of kind of what you're doing, of what's happening. Yeah.
I think if you can, go ahead, Tim.
No. Well, I was going to counter off of what you're saying, because you the way you have your game, you kind of have like skills class protected for different things. For me, I don't like that so much. I like my like a fighter can find a trap. He just might not find it the way he wants. Like if he's looking for a trap, like in my Shadowdark is my choice. Thief gets advantage, and what I usually do is I will set that target level. Let's just say, for an example, a 12. Thief gets advantage on a 12 to find that thing. If a fighter's looking for that, it might be an 18 and he only gets to roll once. And if he fails on it, then he might set off the trap.
See, I don't do that. What I'll do is a thief can say, I'm going to search for traps around the door, let's say, or whatever, right? Without
But
telling me what he's going to do. Now, the fighter can also search for traps, but he has to do the thing that would find the trap. If he says, I put the dagger in the slit and, you hear a click. Oh, shit. I slowly, you know what I mean? That's the difference, right?
Because I have the thief have to do it too. I don't have them just give them carte blanche with that too. They have to tell me what they're doing.
Yeah, so we're going to do that.
So with the Shadowdark, with having the target levels, I can play with that. I can use that to. It's not class protected so much, but it definitely makes the thief a lot more freaking effective finding that trap than a fighter. And then the other aspect of the one thing that I kind of want to see rolls, because I don't like that just have freebies. Let's just talk about like unlocking a chest. That's one of the things. Usually you end up getting a locked chest after you beat everything up. I mean, unless you're one of those numbskulls who wants to open up the lock in the middle of a battle, which is not unheard of.
I may have done that in my life.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. Well, you probably didn't try to unpick the lock. You probably just smashed it open and grabbed. You're just more of a smash and grab.
Grab. Get out of here. We're still in the fight. I'm not, bitch. Around the door.
But you guys know what because I don't want to just give that just a freebie. That every time you need a chest, you can just open it up, because let's face it, you pretty much have unlimited time at that point, or you can roll some random encounters. But let's just let's face it, and especially in Shadowdark, you have advantage on top of it, so your chance of failing is very limited. But what I did is I wanted to make it more meaningful, because when you do that, then that act becomes meaningless. If there's no roll, then it's meaningless. In that point. So that's why I started using lockpicks. And that way it's actually a little bit of a resource management, because you could, it's not likely going to happen still, but you're picking your lock and you roll low enough. Well, shit, you just broke your lockpick off in the lock now. Now you got another little situation. Now you're the situations that just increase. So in that case, I increased the rolls because I didn't want that act, which I think is a significant action within game, become just sort of banal. I mean, in some cases, I'll just say, it's like an easy lock, because in my game too, I have different levels of like lock, difficulties, and depends on the manufacturer or whatever like that. But I think it adds a little bit of tension. I don't think, Paul, you've run into it a few times, but I don't think you've ever failed. Your guy usually is pretty good about succeeding on that.
Early on. I think early levels, I broke it off in the lock.
Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember. Yeah. And that one time you didn't detect the trap, but luckily the trap was already kind of a trip trap already,
right?
And you would have gotten hit by that. So I think those little nuances, even though you're a thief and you're skilled in that, making those failed rolls still makes a thief being.
Couldn't resist, dude.
I don't know why. I don't think I've said that word, and
I've never heard anybody say the fucking word banal.
Word of the day, boys and girls. That's the word of the day. Is banal. Brought to you by the letter B.
Brought to you by Tim.
Yes, there you go. But yeah, I just think in that case, I think it's okay to have the rules, because for me it makes that act more significant than.
But Tim, what you just described was anybody could trek, and thieves have an easier time than fighters, and then that's the Castles and Crusades system in a nutshell, and you shit on Castles and Crusades. So go figure.
No,
that's what they do.
Well, that's what they do. But the thing I'm not a big fan of Castles and Crusades is they're also freaking high. It's like an 18 or a 12. Even if you're good at it, you're more likely to fail because it's a 12.
Well, they say like you can adjust the numbers. I mean, that's the high number. You can
but that's what they standard at. Yeah,
it's 15 to 18 and like 12 to 14, and then 9. I think there's some 9, some easy ones you can do at a roll. At a 9. So it scales to how you want to do it. It doesn't have to be a solid unless it's like on the very hardest end of things. So.
Sure.
Classes having their, whether it's you get advantage or you get, you can scale the number as a DM.
Sure.
It's allowing the character, the class to play, how it's meant to be played.
I think one good way to look at it goes back to tension, right? Like roll when there's a tension moment. Don't roll to just get to the next goddamn step in the thing that there's no tension. There's no roll needed, right? The tension would be if we don't know this answer, we can't progress. Therefore, there's tension involved to know the answer. If we don't find the trap, if we can't pick the lock, right? Things like that. There's a tension moment. Don't roll if you keep rolling for every little fucking thing just because the book says you can, you kill pacing, you kill creativity, and it's like you're rolling dice more than you're thinking. You know what I mean? And it takes away from the fun of using your brain and getting into a role, and you're role playing 2 L's instead of role playing LE, right? I mean, it just kills it on that front,
Yep. Agreed.
And the only thing we've used this example. I used this example I think before, but about the social encounters. I know I'm big into the role playing it, going through it, but I'll use Paul's example just a couple sessions ago where he broke into a house, and I didn't really have the NPCs established all that much. We kind of had I had the situation figured out, but I didn't have anything defined. Yeah. And then when Paul interacted with them, I just decided I'm just going to. Well, I actually had you roll, I think, Paul, to see how they would react. Yep. And it turned it into just sort of a goofy situation. It could have turned really serious, but it actually turned into a fun situation just because I had them roll a couple things completely different. And as DM, I appreciate those little surprises. Appreciate those little variants when it surprises myself. So I don't mind those, but in the way I was talking about with the other D20, where you're going to succeed, but I want to see how well you succeed. Sometimes I'll have somebody roll a social encounter. Say you have, the -3 charisma. You can roll really high, but it's still going to be kind of maybe in the middle. But what'll end up happening is those players, instead of maybe being mad at you, they might like, oh man, I feel bad for this guy.
Yeah.
Have a little bit of a different reaction. But on the whole, if I have the NPCs like really established and that are, kind of part of the foundation of the adventure or foundation of the campaign, I know how they're going to react. I'm not going to roll too much.
Exactly. Yeah.
What they're going to do. But if it is on a kind of a random NPC, well, how many times have you guys encountered Blake, and he's been in various states of Blakeism?
Yeah.
It depends on which day you hit him. You might find what's his name, the Big Lebowski Blake. You might find John Wick Blake, or you might find the one you just encountered the other day, who was like basically kind of
magical Adderall, essentially, Blake.
Right? Yeah, just rambling on. So it could just be the timing of what, because this one NPC could have different personalities depending on, or aspects of the personality come out when you meet them.
Yep. I think that going back to the tension part, one thing I remember, I think it was Pathfinder that did this. Maybe it was 3rd edition or 3.5. We only played 3rd, and we skipped 3.5, went to Pathfinder. But they had something in there, I think it was Pathfinder, said taking a 20, where you just take a 20. If you have all the time in the world,
yes,
right?
I remember that.
And you could take 20 minutes, and that gives you a nat 20, the equivalent, right? And you could do the thing. Now, I wouldn't use it for every situation, like sheer cliff face. Nobody's taking a 20 on that. But if a thief climbs to the top of a cliff, say manages 100-foot climb, and he gets there doing his thiefy skills, and he doesn't die, right? And he drops down a rope, right? And he hammers pythons into the wall and anchors the rope and all that. Everybody else with the shittiest climbing skill with 5 dexterity can still climb that thing by taking a 20.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because you got the rope, the thief rigged it up, you got pythons, you got you got the harness, you're going up the fucking wall. That's a take a 20 situation.
You basically got the thief reassurance, just kind of guaranteeing success as much as possible.
Yes.
Although you could do the Rob roll, just don't roll a 1.
Don't roll a 1. Yeah.
Infamous last words. And I would
go on a 1 out of a, if the thief rigged it up like that, I would say don't roll a 1 on a D1000.
A D1000.
You know what I mean? Yeah, just for the
be
fun
waiting
of it.
forever.
Because no, just roll, roll 20 or something. Don't roll a 1 on a D1000. You know what I mean? That's something like that I would do. Just because you need some risk just to fuck with the player, just to get them sweating a little bit, right? Even on
but it's so much fun to say just don't roll a 1 because everybody panics.
Yeah. I think we killed this topic, man. Just don't use it. Don't use it too often. Don't stifle because it stifles creativity. You're rolling dice more than you're thinking. You fuck.
What would you give a 5e? So someone who's doing 5e, Joe, because you're more 5e. Well, I guess oriented. What would you tell them instead of relying on all those like maybe perceptions rolls? What would you suggest that they do instead?
Before you tell me that I want to search, or at the same time you're telling me that I want to search that wall, all right? Say I want to search the wall, and you told me that, I would say, well, then tell me what you're doing to do the searching, right? And then, well, do I have to roll? No, tell me what you're doing to do the searching. Now you're thinking, right? And so, well, if I have my hammer, my back scratcher, and I tap the wall, right, and I scratch my back, and and so okay, you're doing this. Okay, do I get to roll now? No. Keep telling me. Okay, you tap the wall, and you have no hollow sounds. Okay, now what are you gonna do? Do I roll? No, you don't get to roll. How about if I take my dagger and I stick it like in the slot between the bricks? Okay, do that. Okay, you stick it in a slot, and all of a sudden you feel a gap. Oh, okay. Could I roll now? No. Tell me what you're gonna do with the fucking dagger. I stick it further in. Okay, and I stick Paul right in the fucking chin right here. I stick it further in. Okay, you hear a click as you stick it in there. Okay, do I have to roll now? No, you don't get to roll now. Well, what happened when you clicked? I don't know. Oh, well, do I get to roll to see what? No, you don't get to roll to see what happened when you clicked. Well, okay, well, what do you want to do? I'm gonna pull the dagger out. Okay, when you pull the dagger out, you see the wall shifts. Oh, really? What happens? Do I get to roll now? No, you don't get to roll now. I'm gonna push the wall. The door opens. You found the secret door. I didn't even roll. Holy shit! Amazing. Right. Old school, bitch. That's what we do.
That's it.
I think you describe players though too, and I think we need to be conscious too as DMs too to say, look, these guys, we're teaching them rules, we're teaching them mechanics, we're teaching them how to role play, we're teaching them don't look at your stuff. But in the mind of the player, the players, depending if they're new or whatever, want to roll these dice, and so I appreciate it too. So I think making sure that we're saying, hey, these guys want to roll some dice. This is a in their minds, it's like, oh, you roll dice and you play D&D.
Yeah.
And so I like it when Tim, lets me roll dice for certain things. So allowing them to roll dice for, whatever that may be. I did, once again, allows them the agency to say, oh, I'm kind of in somewhat control of this. decision.
But
That's
don't you have
happening.
more agency though, Paul? Using your brain, doesn't it feel better to have agency by using your intellect and your intelligence and problem solving?
It does, but when you're at the table and I'll just, if you're playing with teenagers, you have a set of dice in front of them. What are these for? What are all these 5 dice that I have here for? And then if you're not, once again, we want use your brain, but also as a DM, let's find ways for them to roll dice creatively that adds to their agency, and when it's important enough to use them.
Mm-hmm. When there's tension, when it's important, there's tension. Yeah. I think the balance has to shift back to more what I described. You don't have to go for your all purist like OSR.
More narrative type of thing.
Yeah, narrative if you can. You know what I mean? Narrative if it's not deadly important. Yeah. Yep. All right. Cool. I think we killed that shit, man.
I was gonna say the horse is dead.
Yes, the horse is dead. 30 minutes in. We seem to be trending for 30 minutes, guys. So yeah. We're killing it, guys. So guys, click that subscribe button. All right. If you click the button down below, you'll subscribe to all 3 channels at one time. We're hoping you do, because Tim, we got to get him monetized because he just got a new puppy. And the dog monetization. The dog needs dog food. You don't want Tim's dog to starve. He got a new puppy.
Head like a freaking conqueror. Where's the puppy? With Ivy. It's always attached to Ivy.
Ah, okay. Okay.
He's got a block like a cinder, or his head's like a cinder block. I swear.
Really? You can't get him on camera
too.
So. Oh no, I wouldn't try to, because I don't want him jumping on my desk. Because you know how many technical issues I have. Do you want to add like physical issues on everything falling off and getting knocked off? He's not a puppy. He's like a 55-pound piece of muscle. He's a beast.
Can he do any worse to your technical issues than you've done in the past, I don't know, 3-4 years?
He may not do technical, but then, I mean, like breaks the monitors and, my microphone goes flying off, he's not the smartest dog in the world yet either. We're working on that, but yeah, he's got a little
got a low intelligence score.
Yeah,
he's a fighter. He's a high strength, low intelligence.
He is. I threw him a piece of kibble. He stepped on it and couldn't find it. So there you go. Gotcha. One of those. I'm like, okay.
You got. Yeah, okay. You got a short buster dog. Okay.
Yeah, I do. I got a short buster dog. I do.
So please support Tim. Subscribe to his channel. Get him monetized so we can feed his short buster dog. All right. The dog needs kibble. Damn it. And me and Paul too. While you're at it, but get him monetized.
Get the help.
Share it around. Be notified too. New video coming next Thursday. The topic next Thursday will be. What
is it?
Come on, I'm asking you because I know you forgot already.
It's random encounters.
Random encounters. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Random encounters next week, guys, and we're going to record it in about 3 minutes. So we do 2 in a row.
So we'll be wearing the same clothes. So we didn't wear the same clothes for a whole week. It was just we just did them in the same.
I generally have like black and blue shirts and maybe some white shirts sometimes. So you're pretty much gonna always see me in these outfits. So
true.
Pretty generic. So anyway, thank you all. Appreciate it. See you soon.
Thanks, guys.
See you, everybody.